Okay, we are on Tuesday the 3rd, and we have upper body. So this one again is 2 parts, 5, 6, or 7 rounds, bent arm raises, tricep kickbacks, push-ups, skull crushers, and part 2 is plank toe taps, 4 reps. So we have bent arm raises, we have tricep kickbacks, we have push-ups. They're either going to be full push-up, kneeling push-up, off of a height, or even kneeling off of a height. Skull crushers. You can do 2 on the side of your head, or you can do 1 the long way that's going to hit the top of your head. Okay. And plank toe touches. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5, 6, or 7 rounds, that is your choice. And we have our bent arm raises. So you're going to hold your dumbbells and you're going to bend your arms. It's going to look just like this. And all you're going to do is rotate at the shoulder and lift your arms up. Return, 1. Lift up, return, 2. Lift up, return, lift up, return. So when you do this, you want to make sure that when you hit your lift point, that you're pretty parallel. So you don't want to be way up here like this, and you don't want to be too low. You want to be kind of just right across the middle. And then when you lower down, you want to make sure that you don't just drop down, okay? So everything is always nice and controlled. Rotate at the shoulders, back down. Rotate at the shoulders, back down. The other thing you want to make sure is that you're not, doing this. You're not scrunching up. So you want to be nice and relaxed. You don't want to scrunch as you lift, okay? So I don't know if you can tell the difference, but this is me not scrunching, and this is me scrunching. Yeah, you can definitely tell, okay? So you want to make sure you're not doing that. Tricep kickbacks. So typically anytime we do a tricep exercise, I usually tell people to use their lighter set. So you should have at least 2 sets of dumbbells. One might be medium to heavy, one might be light, depending on what you have, what you can afford. Maybe you have 2 that aren't that different, you know, whatever. Maybe you have more than 2 sets, but usually triceps, we need our lightest weight. So our tricep kickback is gonna start in this kind of bent over position. So we use this position a lot for a lot of different exercises, and it always looks the same. So our bent over position, your feet are pretty close together. Some people like them totally together. I don't. I like them just kind of comfortably, just maybe a little bit inside shoulder width apart. Your knees are gonna bend, and then your butt is gonna kind of be pushing backward, which is gonna cause your back to fold forward, okay? So you're gonna be kind of here. Some people go really far over. The only reason that I tend not to do that, or to tell other people not to do that, is because you could end up rounding like this because you're so far bent over and the weights are gonna be somewhere down here. So a lot of people will tend to have a round back instead of a straight back. And I think it's difficult to tell when you're doing that, especially if you're a beginner. So I typically am like up here. I'm not all the way down here. I'm usually kind of diagonal like this, okay? So with our tricep kickbacks, we kind of start the same way that we did our bent arm raise. So we look like this, except we are just gonna extend our arms backwards. Extend, slow return, extend. So that is your kickback. Kick back, return. Kick back, return. So if you are not sure what you're doing here, the tricep is the back of your arm, okay? So when you kick back, you are tightening the back of your arm, and then you're releasing it, okay? So that's where you should be feeling it in your tricep muscle. So like I said, if you're wondering, like, if you're trying to do it and you've got 10 pounds or more and it feels really heavy and you can't control it, it's because we don't, especially women, don't work our triceps a lot. We do a lot with the front of our arms if we're lifting things or carrying things, but we don't do a lot like this or pulling down, which is gonna hit the back side of your arm. So it's typically one of our weaker muscles. Push-ups. So as you quickly saw, there are a ton of push-up variations, which is why I hate when people say they can't do a push-up, because there is a variation that will work for everybody, okay? So the trick is, if you're starting with a easier variation, you need to work at it enough where you get stronger and you can move up, and eventually you can do a regular one. It's just like anything else in life. You're not gonna get better at it unless you practice it, okay? So I don't want anybody to say they can't do a push-up. So we're gonna start hardest, and then we're gonna go to easiest. So the hardest version of a push-up is your regular push-up. That is going to be high plank position, which looks like this. So high plank position means you're up on your palms, your wrists, elbow, and shoulders are stacked underneath your body. You're up on your toes back here, and then your spine from your neck down to your butt is gonna be neutral. So you don't wanna stand like this, and you don't wanna let your hips sag. You wanna be nice and neutral. That is your high plank position. That is how you start your push-up, okay? So when you go down, you want everything to move together, and when you press up, everything needs to rise together, okay? This is what your push-up should look like, okay? It shouldn't look like this. It shouldn't look like this. So if you find that you're doing one of those things, you're gonna wanna drop down to your knees. So your kneeling push-up is basically a half high plank. You're cutting it in half by kneeling. So when you kneel, you don't wanna be up like this. You wanna shift your weight to the front of your kneecaps, which is going to help your hips drop. So again, you don't wanna be way up here, you don't wanna be like this, okay? You wanna have neutral spine, which when you're kneeling, that means that from your neck to your butt should be in a line, which because you're kneeling, it should be in a diagonal line. When you're up here, it should be more of a straight line. When you're kneeling, it should be more of a diagonal line, okay? So it's gonna look something like that, and the same idea. You're going to lower everything together, press everything together. Everything goes down, everything comes up. So again, it shouldn't look like this, it shouldn't look like this, and your butt's in the air. Everything needs to lower and rise together. If you are having trouble with that, you are going to do a push-up from high plank, but off of a height. So that could be a chair, a couch, a counter, something, anything. And obviously, the higher the height, maybe not obviously, the higher the height, the easier it is. The lower the height, the harder it is, okay? So if I did this chair right here, it's gonna be more difficult than if I did, say, the back of my couch. The back of my couch might be up here, okay? So off of my height, high plank position, slow lower, press up. Slow lower, press up, okay? So that is your easier version. Your easiest version is kneeling and off of a height, okay? So that means I'm on my knees at my height, okay? So basically, what is helping you when you do all those variations is when your upper body is elevated off of the ground, that's less of your body weight that you're working with, okay? Or when you do high plank, regular push-up to kneeling, you're cutting your body weight in half by kneeling, okay? So there's a lot of different variations that you can do. You basically will probably wanna watch yourself, either record or in a mirror, to see what you're doing, and then based off of what you're doing, you're gonna pick whatever modification is gonna work for you the best, okay? Or what feels the best. And then lastly, in our rounds, we have skull crushers. So this is another tricep exercise, and you can do it with 2 weights or with 1 weight. So I'm gonna show you first with 2. So you would hold 1 in each hand, and you would slowly lower down from the elbow to the sides of your head and press back up. Slow lower, and press. So all that's happening is my arms are dropping at the elbow down. Now, the trickiness of the two dumbbells is that each hand is controlling one. So if you're doing this or you're doing this, that's not good. That means it's not moving together. So if you are having a hard time controlling them, or you just aren't very strong in that area, or you're not very coordinated, you're gonna wanna just do one. So you take one, you hold it the long way. So now both hands are on the same dumbbell, and you're gonna just lower down the same way, except now the weight is gonna basically come to like your forehead, top of your head area. Press back. Slow lower, press back, okay? So holding two gives you more range of motion, but it is more difficult because you have to have both hands coordinated and moving together at the same time. Now, our part two is plank toe tap. So again, you're going to pick a number. You're going to pick the number of reps that you want to do, somewhere between 50 and 100. And you are going to get in our high plank position. So this is another position we use for a lot of exercises, high plank position. You're going to spread your feet wider than normal. And what you're going to do is you're going to press up. So you're basically going to press through your shoulders and pike your butt up. You're going to release one hand and you're going to cross it and touch the opposite foot. Return to high plank position. Push, pike up, opposite hand, opposite foot, return. Press, return, press, return. It might take you a few times to get in the correct position, like from your hand to foot ratio. You might need to move your hands a couple times before you get it right. Don't be too worried about touching your toe exactly, but if you're really far away, then that means you need to scoot your hands in a little bit, okay? And that is our Tuesday the 3rd.